All right, welcome back to Better Kansas City. His uncle didn't just live in a White House. His uncle lived in the White House. Before that, Harry S. Truman lived in Independence with his family, and you can meet his nephew, author David Wallace. Right now, he grew up in the Wallace-Truman household. Welcome to Better Kansas City. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
I've been looking forward to chatting with you ever since I knew we were going to have you on to talk about the book. Just talk a little bit about, did you feel, was it a special feeling to have a president in your family? How does that work?
No, I teach creative writing in California, and a student of mine asked me, do you feel special? This was right after the book came out a couple of weeks ago. And I said, no, no. What's special is what happened to us. None of us really felt special, other than my grandmother, of course, who the media later dubbed the Dragon Lady. But aside from that, you know, we just were sort of ordinary people. I mean, Midwestern people who, of course, were special in the sense that they opened the west of the United States.
Yeah.
So there we are.
When did you spend the most time with Harry and Bess?
From when I was an infant until I was 11, we moved to Denver. And then I came back and spent every summer at the House in Independence with them until I was like 20 years old. And of course saw them back and forth all along.
So was that before he was the president, after he was the president? When was that?
Before and during.
Before and during. So they would come back. What did they used to call the House in Independence? Because was it the Midwestern White House or something like that?
Summer
White House.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
So they'd come back and you'd spend time with them. What was that like, spending time with an active president away from the White House? Did he relax a little bit, or?
I think it's one of the few places he felt relaxed.
Yeah.
The problem was that we all lived together because of my grandmother's, my aunt's promise that my grandmother would never suffer after her husband committed suicide in 1903. And so that meant that even when they were in the White House, he was left alone a lot of the time because she'd come back and sort of house sit with her mother. And to that extent, he was lonely. That affected the presidency somewhat. But, you know, we were sort of all together. It was a family.
Yeah, I can't wait for a chance to read the book and read all the stories that you've gathered there. But what kind of pushed you towards writing the memoir? Oh,
very simple. There have been a lot of books written about my uncle's administration, and there's not been much said about what it was really like to be a Missourian at that time, surrounded by the kind of anecdotes and good things and bad things that happen to all of us in our lives that make us who we are.
Yeah.
And that is what I tried to do. I bring in some of the tradition from back in the Civil War days that affected both families, and also the day-to-day, like what we ate, you know, I mean, how we get along.
Well, I noticed there's a recipe in the back of the book, too.
There are a couple of recipes in the back of the book, and I didn't want to put them in, but my publisher said, people love recipes, and they're going to want your aunt's recipe for cookies, so there it is. You know?
All right, we'll have to try that one out, too. I wish we had more time to chat, but if you have questions for David, you can meet him and ask him this Sunday, 2 to 4, over at the Midwest Genealogy Center in Independence, sir. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you very much.